If you're running a US CPA firm and you're thinking about 2025, the big question isn't just how do we survive another tax season, it's how do we actually build real sustainable growth? Well, the answer might be hiding in the one place you're probably not looking, your everyday bookkeeping workflow.
So let's just get right to it. If your firm is still trying to handle every single client file in-house, you're not just working harder, you might be literally letting profits slip through your fingers just by getting bogged down in those essential but super repetitive tasks.
So, here's what we're going to cover in the next few minutes. We'll start with the modern CPA's dilemma. Then we'll look at a new strategy for growth and dive into how the outsourcing model actually works. After that, we'll hit the numbers, the real business impact, and answer the top questions you're probably already thinking of. And we'll wrap up by rethinking what growth really means.
So what is this core dilemma we're talking about? Well, it's that constant grind, right? The battle with essential but mind-numbingly repetitive work. You know, all the tasks that eat up your team's valuable time but don't really add that high-level billable value. This is the friction that holds so many great firms back from reaching their true potential.
I mean, just take a look at this list. This is the bread and butter of any accounting firm. Transaction coding, reconciliations, AP/AR, even prepping tax forms. They're all absolutely vital. But here's the key. They're also highly systematic, and they can be delegated without ever getting between you and your client relationship.
Okay, so this brings us to a whole new way of thinking. Instead of seeing these tasks as just a burden you have to manage, the fastest-growing firms see them as an opportunity to be leveraged. They're using outsourcing not as a last resort, but as a proactive, strategic weapon for massive efficiency and growth.
And let's be super clear about this. This isn't some pie-in-the-sky trend for the future. It is happening right now. The savvy firms, your competitors, are already doing this. They are actively building a more scalable, more efficient model while everyone else is still just talking about it.
So how does this actually work in practice? I want you to forget that old idea of just, shipping work off to some faceless call center. This is a much smarter, more integrated approach called the team extension model. This chart just lays it all out, plain and simple. An in-house hire, you're looking at high fixed costs, it's slow to scale up or down, and it's a ton of management overhead. But with the team extension model, you can see costs drop by 50 to 60%. You can scale on demand, and the overhead is minimal because you're plugging in a specialized team that's already managed. The whole process is actually designed to give you total control and consistency. First, you get a dedicated team that works only for your firm. Second, they don't force you onto new systems. They learn your way of doing things and use your tools, whether that's QuickBooks or Xero. And finally, they just slot right into your existing workflow, complete with quality checks, so it honestly feels like they're just down the hall. Okay, but here's the million-dollar question, right? What about your clients? This is where a really important concept called white label accounting comes in. The outsourced team does the work behind the scenes, but every single report, every deliverable has your firm's logo on it. To your client, it is all seamless, professional work coming directly from you. The trust you've spent years building is perfectly preserved.
All right, the model sounds great in theory, but what about the results? Let's talk numbers. The real tangible impact this strategy can have on your firm's bottom line and, just as importantly, your capacity.
The first number is always the one that gets everyone's attention. A 50 to 60% cost savings compared to hiring locally. Now, just think about what that means for a second. That's not just a number on a spreadsheet. That's capital you can pour back into marketing, new tech, or, hey, just a healthier bottom line.
Now let's talk capacity. We all know the pain of tax season, right? What would it mean if you could double or even triple your output during that crunch time without burning out your core team? This model gives you that on-demand scalability. It turns the busiest time of year from a massive headache into a huge opportunity where you can actually say yes to new business.
And it's not just about cramming more work in. It's about getting it done faster. Because this outsourced team is so specialized, they can turn around monthly books up to 40% faster. For your clients, that's awesome. They get their financial data quicker. And for your firm, it just means a more streamlined, efficient operation all around.
Okay, at this point, I'm sure your wheels are turning. You're probably thinking about all the what-ifs and hows. So let's just dive right in and tackle those big questions, those practical concerns that every firm leader has, because the details really do matter. Let's start with the big one, the one that can keep you up at night. How in the world is my client's incredibly sensitive data protected?
The only acceptable answer here is a rock-solid, multi-layered security protocol. We're talking fully encrypted systems, strict access controls so only the right people see the right things, legally binding NDAs signed by every single team member, and of course, complete compliance with IRS security standards. Confidentiality isn't just a feature, it's non-negotiable.
All right, next up, commitment. Nobody wants to feel trapped in a long-term contract, especially when you're just trying something new. So what's the deal?
And this is one of the best parts of this model. There are no scary long-term lock-in contracts. You can use the service on a flexible monthly basis, or even just for seasonal help to get you through tax season. It lets you start small, prove it works, and then scale up when you see the results for yourself.
And finally, the practical, day-to-day stuff. How does communication actually work with a remote team? Are you going to have to learn a whole bunch of new, complicated tools?
The short answer is no. The principle is simple. It's your workflow, your rules. The team adapts to your tools. So whether you live in your email inbox, coordinate projects on Slack, or have meetings on Zoom, they plug right into the systems you already know and use every day.
So when you step back and look at the whole picture, you start to see this isn't just about saving a few bucks or offloading tasks. It's a fundamental shift in how you think about growth. It's not about your firm doing less work. It's about empowering your team to do better work.
I mean, the whole goal here is to get your best people, your highly skilled in-house CPAs, off that hamster wheel of repetitive tasks. This frees them up to focus on high-value advisory services, on solving complex client problems, and on building those deep relationships that truly grow your firm's reputation and value.
So I'll leave you with one final thought to chew on. As you look at your own firm's operations and your plans for the future, just ask yourself this. Is your firm currently built simply to do more work, or is it built to do better work? The answer to that question could define your success in 2025 and for many years to come.